welcome to the Voice of Vicious podcast. Welcome to the Voice of Vicious podcast. I am your host, Vanny Vicious. Guys, I'm sweating. Look at me on the microphone, bro. What the fuck? Guys, we did it. We spoke to Joe Exotic's team. And by we, I mean motherfucking me. So, some exciting news. I got to talk to Joe. I talked to him in two separate parts because when you are incarcerated, your phone calls are only 15 minutes. So, I'm going to play for you guys the phone calls so that you can hear Joe tell his story from his own mouth in his own words. Everything goes with everything that I read to you guys in part one, the affidavits, everything, all the videos you guys saw in part one as well. We're going to get straight into the phone calls, guys. Here they are.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Joe, how are you?
Okay, sorry about being late because they screwed up count, so they had to recount before we could use phones.
Oh, no worries. So I understand you only have 15 minutes?
Yeah. And
Okay.
You're going to have to get closer to your mic or whatever because I can barely hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, but you have a bad echo.
We got you on an iPad, trying to make it work the best we can.
Right.
Is this
right.
a little better?
That's a little better.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to get straight to it and help you, say your story on another platform to prove your innocence, right? Because that's the whole point.
I appreciate you giving me a voice and a platform.
I appreciate you coming on the Voice of Vicious podcast. In the beginning of Tiger King, I'm not sure if you were able to ever watch that.
I watched the first season, believe it or not, just like 2 months ago.
Okay.
My lawyers brought it in on the computer because we're working on a lawsuit against the producers of Tiger King.
Right. What are your thoughts on how you were portrayed on that?
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't understand. I didn't film for Tiger King. Okay, I was already arrested 2 years, and then they created this whole scenario. Okay, so they took footage off of my YouTube videos, and then and my husband at the time sold them my computers with all of my video from doing my show on there. Okay, for $2.6 million, and then left me here.
Holy shit.
Okay, so I didn't film for Tiger King, but I thought, after I watched it, I couldn't believe what all the hype was about.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was pretty stupid myself. You could tell that they had an agenda, but see, the common viewer that don't know anything about tigers or anything probably didn't see the agenda like I did, because if they would have wanted to make a movie about tigers or the plight of tigers or the conservation of tigers, they would have interviewed Saf, the girl that lost her arm.
Right.
They would have interviewed her in front of a tiger cage, so she could have talked about tigers and not blaming the tiger for losing her arm and stuff like that. Instead, they set her in a junkyard to make the zoo look like it was a junkyard. Yeah,
she was like in front of a trailer or something, I remember.
Yeah, and then who the hell interviews a hitman in a bathtub?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I remember in the first episode there was a clip of a jail phone call with you, and you had said, let me show you the whole thing and tell you the whole story, and then people will wonder why the fuck you're in jail. Why do you think that you're still there, being that there's affidavits?
But nobody ever wanted to hear the real story.
Right. Well,
and during my trial, I didn't get to tell the real story.
Right. Well, this is why we're on these platforms, right? To give you a voice now.
Well, okay. So I meet Jeff Lowe in early 2017, okay? And that's where I made my mistake in life, was letting that rat in my life, okay? Carol Baskin was nothing compared to Jeff Lowe. All right, so he pretended to be this really rich millionaire, okay? Because he had this big mansion out in Colorado and a Porsche or a Ferrari and Hummers and everything else. Well, come to find out, okay, after he wanted to invest in my zoo, he wanted to buy my zoo and I wouldn't sell it to him. So I thought, you know what, I could use an investor. He was supposed to invest $300,000 and get his name on half the property as collateral. Okay, well,
this call is from a federal prison.
Quit claim deeded the property, okay, and put his name on the property with my mom, and then coming to find out that his mansion was rented and he was behind on payments on everything else. Okay? He had nothing, okay? So now it's too late, all right? So he chokes and beats his wife up in Colorado and ends up in jail. And then Lauren pops in out of nowhere, and she goes and bails him out, and they end up moving to in my house with me and Travis.
Okay.
So here I am stuck with Jeff and Lauren, okay? And as time goes by, it probably wasn't even 3 months. I was March of 2018. I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave the zoo. I was going to just give them the zoo because it turned out that all these two do is they sit on the internet, on Facebook and Instagram, and lure these young girls into the zoo using baby tigers, okay? Then they would get them to go over to their cabin at night to play with baby tigers. Well, then they would drug them with ketamine and cocaine. And some of the girls, Ashley Webster was one of them. A little black chick from Hooters in Dallas named Chelsea was one of them. Look, and they videotaped it, okay, to blackmail them.
Shit.
And this is what they were doing at the zoo, okay? And then when they weren't doing that, okay, you can look online, and Jeff Lowe, Lauren, sat all day long looking at material on the internet that matched Prince, the singer's clothes.
Yeah.
And they would have clothes made and have their little brand militia, Thompson, notarize these certificates of authenticity, and they would sell fake Prince clothes out of the zoo on the internet.
So they were fucking scam artists from the beginning.
Oh yeah, okay. So here's where it got really bad. Okay, so they lured this chick from Las Vegas, okay, to fly into Oklahoma City. They get a hold of her on Facebook. She flies into Oklahoma City, and they go to pick her up, and they're like so pissed off because there's this 55-year-old lady pretending to do the same thing they're doing. Okay, so they're stuck with her for 3 days, all right? So they bring her to the zoo. I don't know if they drugged her or what, but they went through her luggage at night when she was unconscious. And they found a book, okay, of over 75 young Asian girls' pictures, measurements of their boobs, with the weight, everything, okay? She was running, she was a pimp for over 75 young Asian girls.
Holy shit.
Okay, so here's what Jeff and Lauren do, okay? The next morning, they're standing on the porch of the office, right? And Mimi comes up, that's that lady's name. Mimi comes up to the office, and Jeff has her book in his hand, and he says, look, I'm either going to turn you in or you're going to let me in, okay? So they made a deal, and he was so excited to get into this business that he had a place up in the mall in Oklahoma City called the Neon Jungle. He just left it, okay? Saf and Alan had to go close it down and pack all the stuff up because they got on an airplane with this other lady and they flew to Las Vegas. Okay, now here's where James Garrison comes in, okay? James Garrison is a master at making fake driver's licenses and stealing people's social security numbers and making fake social security cards. Okay, so Jeff and Lauren are out in Vegas, okay, and James pretends to be this Asian guy, okay, with a fake driver's license and a fake social security card, and they go and rent houses out in Vegas to run this sex trafficking ring out under fake names, and this is all into my new evidence, copies of the lease.
This call is from a federal prison.
Driver's licenses, the social security cards, everything. It's all in my appeal.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did see that on floridajustice.com there are court documents and affidavits and everything signed by Alan Glover, James Garrison, Jeff Lowe, all of those admitting to perjury, collusion, entrapment. Why do you believe that you're still in there?
I don't understand why I'm still in here. But at some point, somebody has to listen, okay? But what the scary part is, Danny, is we have 2 FBI agents, a federal wildlife agent, and a U.S. attorney who is now a magistrate judge, a federal magistrate judge, that we're all in this corrupt shit. And how many other people are they doing this to?
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
usually isn't that how it happens, you know?
So now they got this sex trafficking ring going on, okay? And then they start making fake accounts on Bowflex, Wayfair, Care Credit, all these accounts using people's Social Security numbers and open up an account. Okay, well, James has a liquidation store in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and Jeff and Lauren have all this shit going on out in Las Vegas. So they order tens of thousands of dollars of merchandise, and they start shipping it to Vegas and to Ardmore, Oklahoma, and selling it. Okay. Then on Care Credit, you know what Care Credit is? It's okay. You can use it, dentist, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then they get all these people these girls that are sex trafficking, and they use fake Care Credit cards to get their boobs done and their faces done and their asses done. And it's crazy what my lawyers have put together and what I knew. And this is why they shut me up. Okay, it wasn't about tigers. It was about destroying Joe and shutting Joe up. Because I left the zoo on June the 16th of 2018. I left. I gave them the keys to the zoo. I walked away from a multi-million-dollar zoo. And I took Dylan and I went to Pensacola, Florida, and I got a job washing dishes on the beach at a restaurant. And 3 months later, they still had to come get me.
Wow. Well, now on your website you have.
They couldn't run a zoo.
Of course, they're not the fucking Tiger King, right? Now on your website, joeexoticofficial.com, you have over 700 videos of evidence to prove your innocence, right? Can you explain a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit more of what people can find on those videos?
Well, okay. Now, keep in mind, Jeff and Lauren always had to blackmail each other. That's why they will never get a divorce without one of them dying, okay?
Yeah.
One of them will have to kill the other one because they know too much about each other. Okay, and Lauren always secretly recorded them every time they got in a fight. Okay, so on some of those videos, you'll hear Lauren and Jeff admitting to rape. You'll hear Jeff where he forces them to take drugs, to have sex with other guys while he watches. You'll hear phone recordings of Alan Glover teaching people how to use these fake credit cards and everything else. You'll hear recordings of James and Jeff talking to the federal wildlife agent where he knew they were lying and this was all a setup. But there's so much exposed with all these phone recordings. I could go on for hours telling you what these things are all, but it's insane. But you know, the craziest part is my lawyer, John Phillips, typed up, and it should be on that website, a link to the complaint. He filed a complaint with the U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland. He filed a complaint with the FBI Director and the U.S. Attorney in Oklahoma City with pictures of all of these fake driver's licenses and everything else. And
wow.
You know, they didn't as much respond and say, fuck you.
Wow. I'm going to obviously link your lawyer's website, your website, and everything. I understand that now you're looking for a pardon, now that you're in the process of filing your appeals and you're accepting donations for legal fees and all of that. And I do know you're a patriot. Have you thought about going on any other influencers podcasts, patriot-like people like Joe Rogan, Candace Owens, things like that?
You know, I would kill to get on Joe Rogan. My people have asked and sent messages to Joe Rogan dozen times trying to get on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I would love to get on Joe Rogan.
I mean, hopefully we could help blow this up for you.
I would love to interview live with Newsmax or Fox News.
Yeah.
But, you know, Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz is a good supporter of mine. So is Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Marco Rubio opened a congressional inquiry for me a little over a year ago.
Okay. All
and
right.
then, you know, Don Jr. Has advocated for me a pardon. But right now, the people that are running pardon47.com, or pardon47.gov, I'm sorry, they're big advocates of my pardon. So all I can do is pray to God Donald Trump makes this right January 21st.
I wanted to ask you something as well. In Tiger King, you had mentioned that you had a really bad car accident. You broke your back. You were in a brace for 5 years. And your love, that's where, your love for exotic animals started, and your love for big cats. How are you coping now, being locked up, being away from these animals? How are you coping with the challenges?
Hey, Danny, this is fixing to hang up on us. Can I give you another 15 minutes at 11 in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would that be fine with
Absolutely.
you? This is going to hang up any second.
Yeah.
And I'd like to finish answering your questions.
Okay, perfect.
I'll call you at 11 in the morning.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I don't remember where we left off, but whenever you're ready.
So we left off, I was saying that in the show, you were saying that after a bad car accident, you were in a brace for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of where you found your love for exotic animals, and they were a therapy to you. So how are you coping now, being away from animals and, with all these challenges, being incarcerated? And also, how big of a role do your fans play in helping you get through these days?
Okay, well, first, you learn how to cope with whatever you can cope with. And I'm in a place where we get to spend most of the day outside. So I spend close to 7 hours outside.
Okay.
And we have wild squirrels and pigeons that are so tame they come up and sit on your knees to eat peanuts and stuff. So I found some friends in those. But to answer your second part of that, my fans all over the world who write me letters and have been here for 7 years is what's got me through this.
Yeah. I mean, you have so much support on social media. All of your comments are, Team Joe Exotic, Free Joe Exotic, Pardon Joe Exotic. It's kind of crazy.
I just hope somebody's listening to them.
Yeah. So, Joe, what are your future plans for when you get out, both personally and professionally?
Okay, well, personally, I promised the prison I wouldn't talk a whole lot about this, but personally, I threw a wrench in the monkey plan here, and engaged to an illegal immigrant, and I don't know. The lawyers are fighting to get his asylum done to keep him in America, but if not, and I get out within a couple months of when he gets out, I guess I'm going to Mexico.
Okay. Do you know what part of Mexico?
Pardon?
Do you know what part? Have you been before?
I've only been to Mexico one time, and I don't even remember the name of the town. It was. I went to Belize, and then I drove from Belize's border into Mexico, and spent the day. That was when I was campaigning for president in 2016.
Yeah.
But he is from Sonora, Mexico. So I don't know, I want to end up in a pretty part of Mexico.
Yeah.
Close to the beach. But that's where my personal life is. But my professional life is, they're already filming Return of the Tiger King.
Okay.
So we're working on that. And, I've been offered a world tour doing a concert when I get out. So that is going to be how I make money. I'm sure that, there'll be tons of people wanting me to do different appearances and talk shows and everything else.
Oh, definitely. Once you get out, shit is just going to pop right off for you. I have no doubts.
My big goal, though, is to testify in front of Congress because I want to do something about prison and justice reform.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you that as well. Now that you've done this time, what would you change as far as, the prison system and, all of that?
There's so many things that need to be done in order to fix this? First thing I do is fire the director, and then second of all, there has to be some laws implemented. Okay, when staff are caught bringing in contraband drugs and whatnot, there has to be criminal charges filed. Okay, so it stops it, because right now it's just we're gonna fire you and we're gonna turn a blind eye, and the public is never gonna know about this. And it's the same way with drugs brought into the prison through inmates, whether it's through visits or drones or whatever. When they get caught, what amazes me is out in the free world, it's illegal to have drugs or make moonshine. Okay, on federal property, it seems to be okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of just a vicious cycle you're stuck
This
in
call
once you're in the
is from a
system.
federal prison.
So nothing about anything of being in here fixes anything. I live in a bus stop, which is a dorm with 16 grown-ass men, and 11 of them are drooling like 2-year-olds all day long from smoking K2.
Yeah.
And in prison, it's accepted, and that has to change, because nothing will ever fix this or slow this system down to where America is not the most populated prison system in the world.
Yeah. What message do you hope that people take away from your story?
Well, there's several of them. One is you have to be careful who you allow in your circle, okay? Because if I would never have allowed Jeff Lowe in my circle, this probably would not have ever happened. Because, me and Carol had our disagreements, but we made money off of each other with our disagreements. She made money from her fans, got people convinced that I was abusing baby tigers by taking them away from the mom. And I made money and grew my fan base, proving that she was batshit crazy and killed her husband.
Right.
Okay, and that was really the extent of our thing. I never saw Carol's face in real life until my trial.
Right. Yeah, it was like an online feud you guys had.
Yeah. But Jeff, on the other hand, wormed his way into the zoo, pretending he was this big money backer, and turned out to be nothing but a con man, with a criminal mind of doing everything illegal you could think of. And that's where I really went wrong, was I let him in my circle.
Yeah.
But what people need to take away from this, don't ever believe everything you see on TV, because now, the evidence is there that I am innocent, and Tiger King just had an agenda, and, the justice system is definitely two-tiered. And now that Biden pardoned Hunter, and this corrupt judge that kept putting kids in juvenile detention for money proves that, okay? He has never in his 4 years of being in office pardoned anybody or commuted their sentence of anybody that's been in prison. It's always somebody that's out of prison.
Yeah.
Which does nothing for the system, because it's overcrowded, understaffed, under budget, and it's just falling apart. And I see the whole thing collapsing within 2 more years.
Yeah. Joe, if you had a minute, we have a couple minutes left. If you had a couple minutes to speak directly to our president, Donald Trump, what would you say to him right now?
I would say, President Trump, I've done 7 years. My life has never been perfect, and people keep saying that you're homophobe and you're against gay people, but I don't believe that, because you've got gay people in your new cabinet that you're putting in. But you have to take just 5 minutes of your life, or assign someone to take 5 minutes of their life and look at my evidence, where they've admitted to perjury under oath on video depositions. And for God's sake, season 2 of Tiger King, they admitted to the world on world television that they lied. And then the so-called hitmen that the government set up, took them to the zoo and showed them a murder weapon of how their plan was to kill me to start with. But yet I'm the one in prison, and that has to be fixed. And I'm asking you please to fix it, not at the end of your 4-year term, at the beginning of your 4-year term. I've lost my parents. I've lost my 55 years of hard work, my American dream of owning my own business, and having a life, and it's all been destroyed for an agenda called the Big Cat Safety Act, which does nothing to save tigers. All it done was create a monopoly for the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, Carol Baskin and Dan Ash, the president of the AZA, because they're the only two exempt from that law. So we need to give some rights back to the American people to own whatever animal they want to own, as long as they can take care of it. But the most important part is I would like to go back to free America and carry on doing the things that I did while I was out in the world, and that was taking care of homeless people and helping little kids fix their faces with Operation Smile and sending money and raising money for Africa to protect rhinos and elephants. So give me a chance to do some more good and help people before my time's up. I'm fighting 2 types of cancer, prostate cancer and lung cancer, and the clock is ticking. So listen to me and give me another chance. I appreciate it.
Amazing.
And that's about it.
Yeah. And also, why do you think that Jeff Lowe and these people admitted to all this after the fact?
That's a proven fact, okay? And, I think we talked about how they secretly record each other,
Mm-hmm.
But, they recorded the feds and the assistant U.S. attorney the entire time they were setting me up and figuring out how to do this.
This call is from a federal prison.
And they always have ammunition for blackmail, okay? See, they thought they were scot-free. Okay, and then when Jeff moved all of my stuff to Thackerville, Oklahoma, and built his so-called Tiger King Zoo, okay, then PETA, the USDA, turned on him, and they raided his place and took his animals away, and it pissed him off. Okay, so they met with my attorney, John Phillips, down in Florida, and turned over their cell phones and their hard drives with over 700 recordings on it, of videos and recordings and text messages and everything else, proving that I'm innocent, because that was their payback. But what they were hoping was somebody would come forward and write them a big check for the evidence, and that didn't happen. And then as soon as we got the evidence, we published it, which they forgot to go on the back side of their phones and erase everything. They only erased it on the front side. So John Phillips recovered all of their fake driver's licenses and their recordings admitting to rape and everything else, and he filed a complaint with the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and the FBI director of the crimes that they were committing, and that the federal agents knew they were committing these crimes and covered them up in order to put me in prison. So that was their payback for the feds turning on them. But if anybody had a brain, and this is where I wish President Trump would really pay attention. When they raided Jeff's zoo and the USDA and PETA filed lawsuits against him, they proved how many animals were starved to death, how many were neglected, and everything else, and how many times he violated the Endangered Species Act. And they never filed one charge. But they put me in prison for euthanizing 5 tigers that I had written protocols by my vet and the USDA to do.
Yeah.
So it was a real double standard, and I have to wonder, well, did they not press charges against him at that time because they knew he had this evidence and he was blackmailing them? Is why he never got charged?
Yeah. My last question for you, Joe, is: do you forgive all these people? Have you found it in your heart to forgive these people after all this time?
I forgave everybody. God's going to take care of him. You know, God took care of Eric Cowie. They found him dead in New York. You know, James just got arrested 2 days ago in Key West, Florida. God will take care of that. Yeah, I forgave him. Will I ever forget? No. But
Right.
have I forgave him? Absolutely.
Right. Just to get it off your chest, right? To not carry that
Right.
weight anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Joe.
This thing is fixing to hang up on us in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So, Danny,
I
want to say thank you so much for giving me a voice on a platform.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody out there I send my love. Happy holidays from me and George. And keep putting free Joe Exotic everywhere.
Absolutely. I promise you I will post the fuck out of this. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, love.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, I hope you guys enjoyed those. I know I did. Joe was a pleasure to speak to, given the circumstances. He seems to be, holding his head high and just trying to get through the days. And of course, the support from all his fans are really helping him out as well. So guys, don't forget to leave comments, go message, go show support on his pages. I'm going to tag his Instagram, his YouTube, everything down below. Check out zoexoticofficial.com and floridajustice.com. These are the websites of Joe himself and his legal team, and you guys will be able to download all the court documents that I read to you and a bunch more. You will also be able to see hundreds of videos proving Joe's innocence. There's even videos of these people signing the affidavits in case you didn't watch part 1 of my video, but everything is there, joeexoticofficial.com. Also, importantly, there are links to donations for him, to his PayPal and his Cash App there. So if you guys want to donate a little something and help him out for his legal fees or with his legal fees, you can do that on there as well. Any amount counts, obviously. All the help is appreciated. I know Joe was very thankful to be able to speak on, different platforms and stuff like that. So I was grateful to be given the opportunity to speak to him as well. So again, guys, go donate, go show some love, go spread the word, tag everybody in these posts, share these videos with everybody. He's done a lot of time in there. And now with all this evidence that's out and all this public information, it's like, really, why is he still in there? Why, what's the fucking holdup, basically? So go show some love to Joe and his team and everybody that's supporting him. I know he has like an army behind him. He has so many plans for when he gets out. And for now, all we can do is help in any way we can. Yeah, everything is there. I'm going to link everything. He also has merch. I want to buy the Make America Exotic Again hat because I think it's hilarious and awesome. But yeah, guys, in any way you can, we all love Joe Exotic. So show him some support, show him some love. I want to thank you guys for listening, for watching, for tuning in. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Love you guys. Bye.